What does it look like to be set up to win? Many times in my life, I have felt that perhaps I was set up to fail. I looked at the setup and the circumstances, the situation, the surroundings, and it felt like there was no way that I'd ever be able to overcome what was standing in front of me. Like it was an insurmountable amount of things that I'd have to overcome to reach the finish line, to get the goal, to get to the other side of the thing. I don't know if you've ever been there in your life, but there are times in life when you feel like you've been set up to fail. But recently, I had this moment in prayer that opened my eyes to a different type of perspective. What if what looks like the setup to fail is the setup to faith? Let me explain. There are times in life when faith is required. And it would be easy to say that faith is simply required when you're going to do a new thing, when you're going to pursue a goal, pursue a dream, go after a thing in your life. That's when we need faith, we say. But the truth is that faith is what is required when things go wrong, when things begin to spiral out of control, when you are doing everything that you know to do, but for some reason you reach your breaking point. It feels like you hit a wall, the point of no return. You can't move forward, but you've gone way too far to go backwards, and you feel stuck in a place. These are the times when faith is required. And what if those moments when you feel like, oh, these circumstances were always in place and I was always meant to fail, are actually the moment when you were set up to faith? See, to have faith, to lean into faith, to embrace faith, implies that there's a need for it. And faith is often when something cannot be seen, when the finish line seems just too far away, when the accomplishment seems just out of reach, when the thing seems to need more than you. That's when faith is truly required. To stand when you've been beat down so much that you have no strength. To move forward when it feels like there is no more forward motion available. That is when you need faith. And so today, as we sit and examine this topic, I want you to think about your own life. I don't necessarily know who's watching or who's listening today, so I don't know who could possibly be in whatever situation they might find themselves in. But if you feel like there's an area of your life where you just don't have the faith for it, when you've prayed all that you can pray and you've grinded all that you could grind, and for some reason you just feel like you can't break through, maybe you've been set up for faith. Faith sometimes is that moment in life when you say, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but I know that it will take place. It will transpire. The reason we need to talk about this, it's the start of a new year. It's 2025. And for so many people, they are re-evaluating their lives, reconsidering things about their lives, reconnecting to values and principles and goals. People are sitting wherever they are, and they are trying to convince themselves that something more is possible, that the goal that didn't take place last year can this year, that the victory that you never saw last year can come this year, that the love can finally be shared, that the pride within self can finally be experienced, that the healing and the grieving can finally fully take place. There's something in most of our lives that, if you are just being honest with you, you have a longing for, a desire for. Sometimes something that just came from your imagination, and sometimes something that was placed in your heart by God. So what do you do? How do you move forward? Just so you know, I see there's a couple people watching right now. Now, you might be listening later on the podcast, but I am really live right now. So feel free to leave me your comments. Feel free to start sharing this video with anybody who you think might benefit from it. We need to talk about how to lean in to faith. If you find yourself in the midst of one of these breaking points, one of these what feels like insurmountable moments in life, you have to begin by evaluating where you are. You see, an evaluation of how far you've come, what you've been through to this point, what you've made it over and made it through to get even here, is often something that we overlook and miss out on in the midst of the journey. Yeah, I've gone far, but I haven't gone far enough. Yes, maybe I've made some headway, but have I really done what I expected of myself? And so, because we very rarely sit down and really track our own progress, we don't accurately evaluate what we've really been through, what we've survived, what we've already overcome, how much we've already matured and grown, then we lose sight of the fact that faith has already kicked in. We lose sight of the fact that we already have done more than we really might have thought we were capable of. The problem is that whenever we begin to accomplish a thing, we want it to then take shape and form to look just like we imagined. Yeah, I want to get married, but the marriage has to look like this. Yes, I want the business, but the business must look like this. I want children, but I've got a picture perfect ideal of what children need to look like. Yes, I want to write the book, and here's how the sales need to look, and here's how people need to experience my book. We all have these ideals in our mind of how things should be and things should go. And the word should, we all understand it. See, there are things that we believe should happen. There are principles that are real. There are truths that we can rely on in life. There are some shoulds that are legit. But there are also some shoulds that are just our thoughts. Just the figment of our imagination as we imagined life would be, should be, could be, might be. I was just sitting with a client the other day, and he began talking to me about how he thought things should look in his life. And I asked a simple question: have you realized yet that all of that stuff that you imagined was make-believe? He gave me this look that was just like, Maurice, he just crushed my soul. No, I didn't. Sometimes we've got to get honest about the truth. See, in your mind's eye, you had a picture of what you thought things would look like, what you thought success would feel like, what you thought the surroundings of your success would be, or how you thought you'd handle it. And when you finally reach the moment you've been waiting for, you find out the moment you were waiting for isn't the moment you were waiting for, because you were waiting for something in your mind. When the accomplishment actually happens in real life, it'll always be slightly different. Different pressures than you experienced or imagined. Different circumstances that you envisioned, different challenges that you understood would be there. It doesn't have to lessen the moment that exists, but we must be honest about the fact that it's not easy. So we have to start with this honest evaluation. Where are you today? How far have you gone? How did you get here? What have you overcome? Because only when I get honest about that fact can I then get honest about the fact that maybe I'm not at this place by accident. When you say you've been set up to fail, if there is something that you really strongly believe in your heart or believe in your mind that you were meant to do, the question is, why don't you think it's acceptable for you to be at this challenge? Why isn't it acceptable for you to be at this fork in the road? If you were really born for greatness, if you were really put in this circumstance to be an overcomer, what if the fork in the road is the setup for success? The thing that builds your character, cultivates a new attitude, the thing that carves out of you a softer heart, or creates in you a deeper understanding of what you are capable of. It is often on the other side of fear that I find all the most beautiful things in life. That's a quote by Will Smith. It's the other side of fear that I really find the most beautiful things that God put on the earth. It's the other side of adversity when I find out what my true strength really is. It's on the other side of all of the resistance that I find out the true gifts God put inside of me. Or when I look around and see the beautiful people that God surrounded me with, it's on the other side of the adversity, on the other side of the frustration, on the other side of the less than optimal circumstance. The things that are less than optimal in the world are more than optimal to God. What looks less than optimal in the natural world is more than optimal in the supernatural realm. Maurice, what do you mean? There's times in life when you begin to build a thing. And you start building and you start working and you start grinding and you start evolving and you start growing. And when you reach a certain point, you look around and you say, I have reached the point where I no longer can build this, no longer can do this, no longer can create this. Well, see, here's the thing. If now something shifts in your situation, if you find yourself moving through the wall of impossibility, if you rise above and scale above the situation that everyone tells you you could never get above, what is seen as God's hand. What people will understand about you is that you've been called for such a time as this. People will realize that this is bigger than you, that you are walking with a purpose that is much bigger than even you may understand. It is when it looks set up to fail that is the setup for God to be God in your life and in your circumstances. So what if the fork in the road that you find yourself at, what if the frustration point that you're standing in front of right now in your life is the divine setup for you to walk fully in your greatness? 2025, my question for you is, what will you decide this moment stands for? Is this just another year? Is it just another day in just another year? Or could this day be a day that is a catalyst for a new thing? I'll be honest with you guys. Can I be honest with you right now? By the way, I'm really speaking live. There's a bunch of people watching right now. Feel free to leave comments. I'll see them because I really am live right now. I was sitting in this chair that I'm sitting in right now, and I was full of anxiety. Some people know this, some people don't, but anxiety is a thing that I grapple with on a daily basis. And when I have true anxiety, it can feel like I can't breathe. I need to walk outside. I need to get a breath of fresh air. I need to be by myself. I place calming music. There's all kinds of things I do because I got to get to the other side. I can't tell you how many times in 2024 I wanted to sit in front of a camera and record, and I didn't do it because I felt so anxious. That's not something that you'd ever know or that you'd ever think of when you think of me, because when I sit in front of the microphone, there's a certain amount of gifting that comes out. But the truth is, several times last year, I felt led to sit and record. I felt like I was meant to and was supposed to sit and record, and I did not hit record. So 2025, this has to be different. I have to hit the button. I have to show up. Instead of believing, oh, here comes the anxiety again, I've been set up to fail, I have to believe, wait, here's the anxiety again, I've been set up for faith. The belief that God can get me beyond the thing I can't get myself beyond. The belief that if I just lean into this moment, that something good will come on the other side of this thing. And that's what you need to have within your journey this year. Different moments when you say, I know how I acted last year. I know how I reacted last year when the adversity struck. How can I handle things differently today? How can I show up differently today? When I get to the end of tonight, can I look at myself and say, you did that? My brother, you did that. My sister, you did that. Can you get to a place in your life where you say, look, I showed up in a new way for myself. And if I did it today, I can do it tomorrow. If you stack up enough of those times, what you find is that you reach a breakthrough. Enough times when you stand up when the world seems to be knocking you down, you find a new strength. You find a new resolve. You find something inside of you that pushes you and propels you to elevation. And so my encouragement that I want to bring to you today is do a new thing today when the pressure comes. Well, Maurice, there's no pressure today. I don't feel no pressure. When it does come, 3 days from now, 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, when the adversity strikes, when the tough time hits, when the heaviness overcomes you, show up different. Watch yourself be great. And realize that was a divine setup. You were set up to faith, not set up to fail. Set up to lean on something greater than you, to see a greater side of you emerge. I'll say that again because somebody needs it. When you lean into faith, you end up watching a greater side of you emerge. A bolder side of you come forth. I wonder if any of your prayer times, anybody who's listening or watching, if you have heard God talking to you about confidence. I was just talking to one of my good friends today, and we were both saying that we both have heard in the last 24 hours God talking to us about a godly confidence. Do you lack confidence in some areas of your life? I mean, I know that the world doesn't think you lack confidence, but what do you know of yourself? Where do you need to see yourself win this year? Where do you need to see yourself overcome this year? Because the evaluation, that's where it all begins. And then after you evaluate the thing, you have to go do the new thing. Doing a new thing on repetition with intentionality, that's called a habit. And intentional habits are what change your life. Somebody asked me the other day, Maurice, what habits do I need to change my life? I don't know. I know, but don't people pay you to coach? Yeah. I don't know everything you need. Just there's not a magic 1, 2, 3. There's your 1, 2, 3. When you're going to put your best foot forward, what's the next step to take? The left foot or the right foot? Is it a step up, a step down, a step to the left or to the right? Where you got to go? How you got to get there? And what's standing in your way of the next step? Only you can know that. So my encouragement for you today is that if it looks bleak and it looks bad, step into faith. Lean into faith. The faith that you are not here for no reason. You're here for a great reason. You're here at this moment for something more than you, greater than you. When you finally walk in the fullness of your destiny, other lives will be impacted. That is always the case. It will always be the case. It's the case for me. It's got to be the case for you. And for some of you, part of the reason that you have been struggling to overcome is because you need to heal. One of the things I talk about a lot is healing. And I promise you that I personally don't talk about healing because I just like to, but because I'm on a healing journey myself. I just realized that for some reason my comments are not showing up on my screen, but you guys are all commenting right now. And I'm reading some of these comments in real time because I just want to see what you guys are saying. Yes, that's right, Monique. You have to show up. Leilani says, God has a plan for all of us. That's right. Carrie said, amen. Yeah, that's so good. Let's talk for a moment about healing. That's that comment that I just saw, God has a plan for us all. There's a scripture that says, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. Part of God's plan for us is to be free. But one of the things that often keeps us from our forgiveness is a lack of healing from within. It's the parts of ourselves that feel bitter, broken, stuck. Not because you're a bad person, not because that's how you want things to be, but simply because some things in life keep you in a chokehold. There are some things in our lives that no matter how many times we've tried in the past, we just couldn't seem to shake that thing. And whatever you can't shake eventually shapes you. Whatever it is that you're not able to shift beyond ends up shifting your course. And so there's these times in life when we have to go back and we got to fight. See, if you were trying before to break free, if you were trying to rise above and then you gave up, no, I just can never do this. I've been set up to fail. It's just not possible. I've said those words. If that's where you find yourself, something inside of you has to say, wait, I need to go back and fight. But maybe this chapter I fight differently. See, the world will tell you that you've got to learn how to fight like hell. You got to bite and claw and scratch your way to freedom. That's what most of us have tried to do. I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove myself wrong in the process. We decide we're going to accomplish our way to feeling better and to healing. Well, that usually doesn't work. See, the fighting, the way we have to fight, is taking a breath. It's remembering what God said and what God showed. Oftentimes, when it's time for us to fight, we have to fight differently. We have to fight a battle that's already been won. You were created in such a way where you were born just beautiful, fearfully and wonderfully made. Made in the image of a creator that knew you and understood you in ways that you personally still cannot fathom. The ultimate path for your life is one that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. You have been set on a course and a trajectory in your life that is beyond your comprehension. And so sometimes when it's time to fight, I don't have to bite or claw or scratch. I need to take a breath and say, God, if you said it, I believe you. Sometimes that is the fight. It's God, if you tell me that I'm strong enough to stand, then I'll stand. And even if I know that I don't have the strength, it must mean that you do. That I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. See, there's these times when your scriptures have to go into your mind. And that's how you fight back. Healing sometimes is when you acknowledge fully, all the way, all of the things that have been taken from you, stolen from you. All of the ways where you feel like the life has been choked out of you, you have to acknowledge it. You have to get real about it. And then you have to say, but what else is also true? Where is God trying to breathe new life into me right now? Where am I being shown another side? I've only seen myself fail, but right now God's trying to show me that I'm a winner. I've always found myself running, but God is showing me what to walk towards. I've always felt myself slinking back and sinking back, but God is showing me how to be bold in this moment. Where is it? You got to find it. And as you begin to walk towards it, you've got to let it heal you. Part of the healing process is letting the new understanding of you and of your life redefine you for you. I need to be redefined. If I've been looking at myself through the wrong set of eyes, sometimes it's those deep breaths, it's those scriptures, it's those heartfelt conversations with loved ones, it's my prayer time, it's the things that recalibrate me to a new understanding of me. True healing is when I look at the place in my life that was once wounded and I say I don't have to bleed there anymore because I can see things differently. Yeah, I'm still going to be scarred, but no longer wounded. Leilani said, faith the size of a mustard seed will move a mountain. That's so good. The understanding that when you lean into faith, everything can change is not always a major, huge, large gesture. Redefining and reimagining your life is not always something that the world around you even can note that you're doing. Sometimes leaning into faith is literally this little small gesture of saying, okay, God, I believe you. Sometimes the faith that moves mountains is you showing up. Just you showing up when you didn't used to. Sometimes, by the way, the faith is you saying no when you always say yes. Sometimes the faith is creating boundaries around yourself. Sometimes the faith is taking out the pen and writing the book. It's little things. Little things go a long way. And so my encouragement to you today, if you feel in some area of your life like you've been set up to fail, tell yourself first and foremost, no, I haven't been set up to fail. I've been set up to faith. I haven't been led up to failure. I've been led up to faith. I haven't truly been carried to my breaking point. I've been led to my breakthrough. See, this is a moment that's so tough for me because when I get to the other side, my whole life's going to change. My whole perception's going to change. My whole attitude is going to change. Something inside of you has to say, no, wait a second, I missed it. But today, right now, in this moment, I see it. Just that thought, just that understanding can pivot the moment. Just that acknowledgement can change your situation. Sometimes it's just in your mind. And then the question is now, what's the next faith-filled action I have to do to back it up? I hope this is helping you guys today. This is the simple message that I had for you today. I share this a lot when I get on and I speak. It's the reality that I don't speak from a place of having it all figured out. I never have. I don't care if I'm speaking to groups, if I'm doing my motivational work, if I'm preaching, if I'm coaching a client, if I'm counseling. I don't care what it is I'm doing. I never come from a place of having it all figured out. Most of the time when I'm walking as boldly as I've ever walked, I'm just walking on faith. Simply believing that I'm not alone, that God is with me, and that I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. It's not that I have all the answers. It's that I believe I'm connected to the one who does. See how that's the setup to faith, not the setup to fail. And the truth is, sometimes it's hardest to believe that about ourselves, but easier to believe that when we're helping others. So my encouragement today, I'm about to wrap things up. If any of you guys have questions or you guys want me to talk about anything specific or mention anything, because I'm live. So if anybody wants anything, well, not if you're listening, obviously, on the podcast, but if you guys are watching me right now live, if there's something specific you want me to answer, something you want me to address, whatever, I'll go there right now today while I'm live. But that's just that bit of encouragement I wanted to bring you. You've been set up to faith. You've been set up for faith. You've been set up with faith. Lean into it. While I'm giving you guys a chance, because there's a little bit of a delay, while I'm giving you a chance to make your comments, ask your questions, whatever it is that you want to do, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of something that I've got coming up. I want to make sure that if anybody wants to join me, that's not what I was trying to click on. Where did it go? Here we go. So if you guys haven't heard yet, I am just a little over a week away from beginning my Total Harmony Challenge. Maurice, what is that? Maybe this has resonated with you today. You have been feeling a little bit up against that wall, been feeling burned out, feeling overwhelmed, whatever it might be. The Total Harmony Challenge is going to be an opportunity for us. We're going to go 5 days, and it's just like literally, it's going to take you 15 minutes a day. I'm not going to take a ton of your time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a video every day that's going to help you with your focus, help you with your mentality, help you with your attitude. It's this crazy thing. Have you guys heard this to where people, when they set up their New Year's resolutions, it's like over 80%, over 85% of people, by the time they reach the third week of January, have already given up on whatever it is that they said they wanted to focus on. So, around the time that most people give up, I'm doing this challenge. The purpose of it, what is Total Harmony? To find more harmony in your life. To not feel like there's certain areas of your life where you're a boss and you're great and you're fantastic and you got to run from the other areas. But how do we find a little bit more harmony in all the parts of our lives? How do we find a way to lean into gratitude, to lean into some different things that we're going to be talking about? So listen, if this is something that appeals to you, I want you to go to mauricefmartin.com/challenge, sign up. It's free of charge. I'm not going to charge you anything. It's just an opportunity for you to grow. That's it, an opportunity for you to grow. There is a VIP opportunity. If anybody wants the special VIP opportunity, I'm going to do 2 Zoom calls, one in the middle of the challenge and then one the following week. And on that Zoom call, if any of you guys have ever been on one of my Zoom calls, you know that I'm going to pour into you like crazy. So this is just my opportunity for that. I don't see any questions. I don't see anything else. So I'm good with that if you're good with that. So I want to thank you guys. If you have tuned in today, if you've been listening in today, I hope that you got something out of this conversation. I've told you, if you guys have heard any of the other episodes I've done recently, by the way, if you haven't, I've done a couple other videos this week. I want to encourage you, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MauriceFMartin, and go ahead and watch some of these recent other videos that I've done. I'll be posting these all on all places where podcasts are found next week. But I want to give you guys just that encouragement. Go and listen. And one of the things that I've been saying is that I'm just trying to jump on and speak. I'm not trying to come on with too much of an agenda. I'm not trying to overly map things out and overly produce things. I do that sometimes. I'm just literally whatever's on my heart, I'm getting on the camera and I'm speaking it. So that's my heart. Hope you guys appreciated it. Hope you enjoyed it. That is it for now. I'm going to jump off of this camera. I'm going to go away. I hope that you have grown. Don't let 2025 be like 2024 if 2024 wasn't good. And don't let 2025 be like 2024 if 2024 was good. Because if 2024 was good, make 2025 gooder. Keep evolving. If 2024 was bad, learn all the lessons from it, but leave that year behind and embrace a new challenge. That's it. That's all I've got. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. I don't know. I'll be back in the next couple of days. So I will talk to you soon on another episode of Hope Rising. We'll talk to you soon.